What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. We've got a pretty cool one for today. We're going to be fixing Metal Fury's ending. But before we get into that, I am using a new mic. Let me know if you can hear the difference between this one and the old one. Let me know which one's better. Also, I did want to let you guys know that I am on TikTok. I pretty much just post like Beyblade edits. I'm very inconsistent with my posting schedule over there, but if you want to see some Metal Fight edits, feel free to check it out. Also, I've started posting some YouTube shorts, just a little series where I'm rating every show I've watched, so if you're interested in that, or if you're trying to find a new show to watch, feel free to check that out too. But okay, back to fixing Metal Fury's ending. I want to start off by saying I love Metal Fury. I know recently I've kind of been talking about it a lot, and some people give it a lot of flack for being rushed or whatever it may be. And I know that me making a video saying that I'm going to fix the ending is implying that I don't like it, but that's not the truth. I'm actually not going to be changing anything that's already happened. For this video, I'm taking a different approach. As we all know, Metal Fury was only 39 episodes compared to the first two seasons being 51. So that's 12 episodes of Metal Fury that we missed out on compared to the other seasons. So for today's video, I'm going to be planning what I would have done with those 12 episodes. And also for this video, I'm going to be leaving the original 39 episodes completely untouched, which means that these 12 episodes are all going to take place after episode 39, the final episode. This is pretty important because another way to quote-unquote fix Metal Fury is by divvying up those 12 episodes and using them to extend pre-existing arcs, and I would love to see that. I mean, imagine giving Tithy's arc an extra episode or two. That would seriously help give us enough time to make Tithy feel like an established character. So maybe one day I'll talk about how I would change the existing 39 episodes of Metal Fury, but for today, we're basically just tacking on 12 more episodes to the end of Metal Fury right now, making it 51 episodes long like the others. So first, I'm going to give you guys my overall roadmap for these 12 episodes, including certain points that I definitely want to cover, and then we'll actually break it down episode by episode for all 12. So, okay, my general thought process here is to try and give the new Legendary Bladers a bit more depth, and to tie up loose ends from the season. So let's talk about some certain plot points that I most definitely want to touch on throughout these 12 episodes, starting off with the Balin Fist and the Balin Temple reuniting. This would further develop Aguma, and overall, I kind of just want to see the story behind this image, like how did it happen. Next up, I'd want to see what Dynamis and Tithy are up to, because they linked up at the end of Metal Fury. And let's be real, these are probably the two least developed Legendary Bladers, so giving them a good story here could kill two birds with one stone. Next, I'd want to see a bit of the new Team Dungeon with King. Also, I'd want to see what Chris is up to. Jinga really gave him a change of heart, so I'd love to see what he's up to post-Nemesis. And all of those plot points, I would love to see. But my most anticipated one has to do with Kyoya. Somewhere in these 12 episodes, I need to see Kyoya's battles against all the Legendary Bladers leading up to Jinga. As we know, the final episode of Metal Fury ended with a showdown between Jinga and Kyoya, and before the battle took place, it was stated that Kyoya defeated every single Legendary Blader leading up to this fight with Jinga. So I feel like this one is a no-brainer. Seeing Kyoya battle against all the Legendary Bladers, I mean, sign me up. We need to see those fights. And then another thing I'd want to see is something with Jinga in the group. I'm not sure what this would be yet, but kind of just a nice story involving everyone. And that's generally everything I want to touch on. Maybe that sounds like a lot to get through for just 12 episodes, but we could definitely make it work. So now we're going to jump in and talk about these 12 episodes, episode by episode. So to start things off, we got episode 1 out of 12, or I guess episode 40 of Metal Fury. Maybe a bit of time has passed, and we can kick things off with Jinga and the gang having just some fun, casual battles. But that would only be the intro, because I want this episode to mainly focus on the Balin Temple and the Balin Fist storyline. We all know that in Shogun Steel they were reunited and training together, so we're going to use 2 to 3 episodes out of the 12 to establish how that happened. So here's where you could go a few different ways. I think a good starting point is to hold another tournament in China post-Nemesis, have it be smaller than Toriamon, but still an exciting tournament that gathers the strongest bladers all over China. Of course, we would get Deshayan and the Balin Temple guys, we'd get Aguma and the Balin Fist, and then the rest would just be background characters. And honestly, we could probably gloss over like 90% of this tournament, just show the important battles leading up to the final, which is going to be Aguma versus Deshayan. And by the way, now that the whole Nemesis thing is over, I think it's finally okay to take the Legendary Bladers off of their untouchable status. As we know, throughout all of Metal Fury, there was not a single instance of a Legendary Blader losing to a non-Legendary Blader, but now that Nemesis has been dealt with, there's no reason to keep them on that pedestal. Anyways, I don't really know why I brought that up, because Deshayan isn't going to beat Aguma. Instead, I think I'm going to have them tie here after an intense fight. They clashed with their different ideologies representing their different schools, and maybe at the end, after a draw, they realize that they're like the yin and yang, and they could both benefit from each other's own philosophies, so maybe this is where they join up. Now, is that a little cliche? Sure. Is it rushed? Maybe. But if done correctly, I think it could work. If you have another idea on how they could unite, let me know. But that whole tournament happens within one episode. And to have a whole tournament take place in one episode, we're basically going to have to fast forward to the semifinals and the finals. Of course, we need that main final matchup, but we could also include like Bao versus Chiyun or something like that. So that's episode 1. Episode 2, we're also allocating to the Balin Temple story. We're going to have this episode start with the two schools training together. We definitely have to show how some of the Balin Temple guys still don't like or trust the Balin Fist guys and vice versa. There's a lot of bad blood. We could show Deshayan and Aguma trying to fix it but failing, and they could have like some sort of meeting to decide what to do. And then this is where we could introduce some sort of antagonistic group. Nothing crazy. They're mainly serving as a plot device. So we could just have a group of like Blader bandits who maybe go around stealing things. So maybe they're after like an ancient relic in the Balin Temple, or maybe they just want to prove that they're the strongest, so they challenge the school. But whatever the reason is, they launch an attack on the Balin Temple, and then we just have this conflict bring everybody together. So yeah, the antagonist group can be pretty basic. We just need them to serve the purpose of uniting the two schools under a common threat. And that's a very oversimplified synopsis. In the actual episode, we'd probably meet some of these bad guys and go further into depth, but overall, I think it's a good enough idea, and I think it could bring everyone together. And then to close out that episode and the whole Balin Temple storyline, just give us Aguma and Deshayan just like chilling on the roof, talking about how happy they are that they're finally united, or something like that. Just a nice little send-off. And yeah, that is going to be the first 2 episodes out of 12. That covers the Balin Temple, Balin Fist story arc. We could have given it a 3rd episode if we wanted to, but I think 2 does the job. These episodes would hopefully develop Aguma, Bao, maybe even Deshayan too. But now let's move on to the 3rd episode out of 12. I'm going to give this one to Chris. I have no idea what he does now. He was so set on being a Blader for hire, but with that being said, I can't really see him going back to that life because it really seemed like Jenga changed him. I could see him going on that Ryuga path, basically just traveling around by himself, getting stronger, and then you could have him run into like Tsubasa, maybe Nile, just give him a really good battle, and I guess show us that he has changed. So maybe show us him helping someone or something like that. Not many ideas there, to be honest. Let me know what you guys come up with. I'm just going to move on to episode 4, and we're going to give this one to Tiffy and Dynamis. This one's interesting because I have no idea what this dynamic is like. Like, is this a father-son relationship type of thing, or like a student-sensei? I don't know. But all I do know is that you definitely need a scene where Dynamis and Tiffy are at the temple, just laying down, looking at the stars, and Dynamis is telling Tiffy a story about the constellations or some ancient history lore, and Tiffy is like amazed and so entertained. That's very much in character for both of them. We definitely need a scene like that. But as for their story, I mean, I'd be chill with seeing them do just about anything. I mean, you could have them like help out a nearby village that's experiencing a drought, or like their river is dried up. You could have Tiffy and Dynamis track it to its source and destroy whatever is blocking the water. Or maybe some shepherd lost a sheep or something like that, and you could have Tiffy and Dynamis find the sheep and herd them, and all the while they're learning about themselves and each other as friends. I mean, I don't know, those are like 2 very random specific examples, but what they're doing doesn't really matter in my opinion. We just need to give them some good character moments. I mean, another possibility, they are in Africa, so you could have them run into some uncontacted tribe of bladers. We could see like a new Beyblade based on like an elephant or something like that. That would be cool. Or we could see a Leon user. It could literally be anything, but just give them a good story where we get to know these characters further. These are probably 2 of the flattest characters in Metal Fury. And I think we could accomplish all of that in one episode, no problems. So the next story we cover could be about Team Dungeon, and I'm going to give this one 2 2 episodes. I guess what I would want here is to see just how King fits in. I want to see more of Masamune, and then I'd want Toby and Zio to get a little stronger maybe. An easy thing you could do is just have a tournament that they all participate in, and I'd be okay with that, but it is a little basic, so I came up with something else. What if Team Dungeon somehow gets sent on a mission to destroy any remnants left behind from Hades Inc.? So yes, this would mean maybe Ziggurat or Damien, or maybe even someone else from Hades Inc. who we've never seen before, is still out there with a functioning arrangement system, and maybe they give themselves the ultimate arrangement and they're trying to do another Spiral Core type situation. And I know that sounds very over the top, but I mean, a mission of Masamune, King, Toby, and Zio, potentially infiltrating some sort of a base and battling strong opponents. I mean, sign me up. This would give us some great scenes of the new team, but it could also serve as some necessary closure for the Hades Inc. storyline, right? Like, we don't know what happened to Damien. We saw Jack again, but barely. And honestly, Jack, when we saw him, was off of the arrangements, so you could even have him get involved. Maybe he would even help Team Dungeon. I mean, who knows? There's a lot of possibilities here. Now, an antagonist who could take on Team Dungeon would have to be pretty strong. If it's Damien, he's got to be all the way juiced up. Or maybe we could have it be some old side character who was in Hades Inc. in Metal Masters, but he was just kind of a nobody, like a background character. But now he gave himself like an insane arrangement and he's super strong. I don't know exactly what we would do here, but I think something like that could be really cool. Let me know what you guys think, of course. But honestly, if we do something huge like that, I'm thinking we may need 3 episodes here. So episodes 5, 6, and 7 are allocated to Team Dungeon. So now, moving on to the next storyline, we're going to be using episodes 8, 9, 10, and maybe even 11, and we're going to see Kyoya's journey and him beating every single legendary blader up to Jinga, and I think the last episode of this arc would be the Jinga fight. So we would see him face Chris, King, Dynamis, Tithy, Kenta. Like all of these guys, he'd have to go all over the world. He could be traveling with Benkei or by himself. It'd be cool if Benkei was there, and we could kind of just hop from place to place and then give us a few scenes of him traveling. But I mean, yeah, these episodes would hit. We'd obviously get some fantastic battles. We know he beats all of these legendary bladers, but still, a lot of these matches would be close, like the King one, Chris, Kenta. I mean, dude, I wish we got to see these fights. And then, of course, this all leads up to the end of the arc, which once again is the Jinga fight. And I mean, just imagine an episode straight of these two eternal rivals clashing for maybe the last time. Of course, they'd be going all out. Maybe they would both unlock new special moves. I mean, seriously, make this the battle of the century. Have a bunch of callbacks and flashbacks to previous battles in this rivalry, and overall, just end this rivalry off with a bang. And as for the result, I'm a Kyoya fan. I'd love it if he won, but I'm going to have them tie. And then at the end of the battle, let's have them acknowledge each other like they haven't done before. And I think this would just be peak cinema. I would call this little 4-episode arc the Kyoya Chronicles or something like that. And this arc would be episodes 8 through 11, which leaves us with one final episode to work with. I wasn't really sure what to do with this one. I think maybe at the start of the episode we could cut to a bunch of different characters and spend maybe like 2 minutes or so with each of them. So like you, Tsubasa, maybe Team Excalibur, Nile. Like, just let us see some of these fan favorite characters for one last time. But then cut to Jinga and his group. So I guess Kenta would be there, Madoka, maybe Yuki is still there, and then Benkei, Kyoya, and just have them all hanging out. I mean, maybe they could be battling. Not exactly sure. Another idea is, what if this last episode is just celebrating Jinga's birthday? I know maybe that's like a random thing, but just think, for the final episode of the series, you have everyone in town to celebrate Jinga's birthday, and this means everyone he's met during Metal Fusion, during the World Championships, during Metal Fury, just everyone is in town, and this would be like a great final send-off, seeing every character interact with each other. I kind of like that idea for a final episode, and if you really want to get crazy with it, you could do some sort of Ryuga return. Don't think that's necessarily the best way to go here, because something like that would need at least like 3 episodes, but maybe at the end of the party or something, maybe the camera cuts away to a nearby mountain on the horizon, and maybe Ryuga's just standing there watching, smiling. That's so cliche, but you could do something like that if you really wanted to bring Ryuga back here. Now that I think about it, with these 12 episodes, you could have done a full-scale Ryuga return, so like use 4 episodes and just plot out Ryuga's return. I don't know exactly how that would work. Maybe that could be a future video, but I kind of like the picks I made here. The plot points and episodes that I chose were picked with the goal of trying to fix Metal Fury, and I think a big problem with Metal Fury were the new Legendary Bladers. They just didn't have a lot of screen time, it was rushed, so I think a few episodes on each of them could have at least made things a little better. Now, if you were to ask me a different question and say, hey, if you could just make 12 more episodes of Metal Fight, doesn't have to be Metal Fury, obviously my answer would probably change. I'd make some Ryuga episodes, Kyoya episodes, maybe some Damien episodes, Reggie, but for the sake of this video, I do like the picks that I made. Let me know what you guys think. If you had to add 12 episodes to Metal Fury, what would you do with them? But yeah, I think that is going to be the video. Let me know what type of videos you want to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I really appreciate it, all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.